World Health Organization considers education to be the most empowering force in the world. They say that it creates knowledge, builds confidence, and breaks down barriers to opportunities. I am fortunate that each and every day I get to work at a university where I see the impact that education has on the lives of my students. Yet I am saddened by the knowledge that for some, access to this life-changing opportunity is out of reach. Data collected during the 2016 census tells us that in towns like Mildura, in northwestern Victoria, less than 8% of the population have a university degree, compared with more than 44% of capital cities like Melbourne. And this pattern continues all the way across Australia, where the further you live from a capital city, the less likely you are to go to university. Now we know that brains and talent aren't distributed by postcode, yet when a regional student gets to university, they are also less likely to complete their degree. Data collected every year by the Australian Government Department of Education tells us that the completion rates for students from regional and Indigenous backgrounds can be as low as 56%. That's a whopping 23% lower than their metropolitan peers. And it's statistics like this that have communities, universities, and governments all rightly asking what more we can do. I believe that the way that we can encourage students to come to university and to achieve success when they get there is through family. And family in the broadest sense of the word. Now I know, I can hear you say it. That's not rocket science, Jess. Of course, people who have a supportive family are more likely to university and do well when they get there. And yes, the literature tells us that that's the case. But what about all of the students who don't have a supportive family? So many of our students come to university where everyone in their life would prefer them to be out earning an income or to be back on the farm where they are needed the most. For those students, the role of the university and community is even more critical. And each of us can play a role in supporting their success. So how do we do it? Well, to answer that question, I need each and every one of you to take a minute to think back on your life and the person or people who made a difference. People who shaped the course of your future. Now maybe it was your Year 5 teacher who taught you that maths really wasn't that bad and by doing so unlocked a lifetime love of learning. Or maybe it was your best friend who encouraged you to go for your dream job even though you thought you had absolutely no chance of getting it. Or maybe you had a mentor who found your talents and encouraged you to pursue your passions. So many of us have been fortunate enough to have been influenced by people in our lives outside of our immediate family. Someone who in some small way changed the course of our lives. Now, when we dig into what makes these people special, what we find at the heart of it is that they cared. That they were willing to take the time to help us overcome a challenge or to give us the encouragement that we needed when we needed it the most. these people shaped our lives. And just as they have influenced our futures, so too can we be that person for someone else. We can make all the difference for a student. How do we do it? Well, to understand that, we need to understand the major challenges that face our students, so that regardless of whether you work or study on a university campus every day, graduated more than 30 years ago, or until today, never even stepped foot on a university campus. Once you know some of the challenges that they face, we can begin to make that difference. And I'm going to share with you 3 of the big challenges that face our students. And by no means is this an exhaustive list. There are so many. But I think these 3 are ones where we can really together make an impact. The first major challenge is raising aspirations, and particularly for students from low income and regional backgrounds. A report released by the Australian Productivity Commission tells us that if you come from a family where no one else has been to university before, you're about 30% less likely to be sitting here in a lecture theatre like this. 30% less likely. And what we also know is that you are more likely to come from a low income or regional background. Now, that report also tells us that since 2009, we have made really significant gains in getting students into university, and that more and more of those students have been from regional and low-income backgrounds. But the gap in education in this country still exists. And the only way that we are going to close that gap is by working together as a whole community. So whether you are a teacher, a community professional, or just a member of the general public, we can all make a difference. And the advice that you provide to people can change their life. Let me share with you a story of one of my students, Kate. Now, Kate was a mature age student. She was in her 30s. She had 3 small children and she worked part-time while studying at university. One day I had a chat to Kate and she told me that coming to university was the most amazing experience in her life and something that she had dreamed of doing since she was really young. So of course, I asked Kate, why did it take you so long to get here? She told me that when she was in year 11, she had a conversation with a teacher who suggested to her that maybe she wasn't cut out for uni. She should graduate and get a job. Now, I truly believe that that teacher had Kate's best interests at heart. Kate was an average student, and she came from a small town where only the best and brightest ever left to go to university. But that conversation with her teacher shattered her confidence. She graduated, she got a job, and it was 10 years before she decided to follow her childhood dream to come to university. The defining factor, a conversation with her boss, who had identified her talents and suggested a degree, was a stepping stone towards a promotion. So Kate came to university. She was an outstanding student. She worked so hard and against the odds while raising her small family and working ridiculous hours. She finished her degree. She went on to study medicine and she is now a successful doctor. That conversation with her boss changed her life. And it will forever change the life of her family and the small regional community that she serves now every day. Kate's story is a really powerful reminder to us that the advice that we provide young people matters and that we can all make a difference. Kate's story also shed some insight into the second major problem that faces our students. And it's not so much a problem as it is a challenge: managing life. We all struggle with it every day. But students at university now are more likely to be studying less hours, working more, and have increasingly complex lives that means that they fit university around all the other things that they do. That takes them out of the classroom, it takes them away from the university and away from the support that they really need to succeed. What that means is that families are even more important, and the support networks that students have are vitally important. And this is an area where I think universities should be doing more. That's why at my university we run sessions specifically designed for students and their supporters. These sessions help them to understand the support that's available at the university, to understand what it's really like to be a student, and most importantly, it helps students and their families and support networks understand that everyone struggles, that this is completely normal, and that the only way to be successful is to learn to ask for help. That brings me to the final challenge that faces our students, and that is a lack of confidence and help-seeking behaviour. We see it across all of our universities. It's not a unique challenge. Imposter syndrome is the silent epidemic that weaves its way through every layer of a university. For students, it presents itself in lack of confidence, of feeling like they don't really deserve to be at university, and this weight of anticipation that at some point, just around the corner, they're going to get kicked in the guts by failure. The doubt that sits at the heart of imposter syndrome can have a significant impact on student mental health and well-being, and is one of the really common reasons why students leave a university. This is a space that I think the university, as an extended family, can play a really important role. And the best part is that each and every staff member at a university can make a difference. It doesn't matter if you are the librarian helping a student with their research, an administrator processing enrolments, the barista making life-saving coffee, or the chief financial officer managing the budget for the entire university. We can all make a difference. We can all be a happy face. We can all welcome students to the university family and help them to connect to the support services that they need when they need it the most. And most importantly, we can all help our students to understand that they earned their place at university and deserve to be there as much as anybody else. It really is that simple, and we can all make a difference. Coming to university is one of the biggest decisions that someone will make. It's up there with buying a house and getting married. Uni is hard. It's challenging for everyone. At some point, life is probably going to get in the way, and for some people, it just won't be the right place for them. But no one should leave a university because they couldn't get access to the support that they needed, or worse yet, because they didn't think that they were smart enough or deserved to be there in the first place. I believe that by working together, universities, communities, and families, we can create an environment where students are encouraged to to follow their dreams, to come to university, to be supported to achieve their best when they're there, and empowered to create their unique version of success. Thank you.